Melissa.
And today we're going to talk about what we got at the Cowlitz Gamers for Kids Expo that was held up in Kelso, Washington on March 28th. This year I went alone again. Melissa, you stayed home with the kids, right?
Yeah.
One of them had a birthday party.
Yeah, we had a birthday party, so.
Yeah. And it was also held at a different location, different venue. It was at the Expo Center. If it had been held at the mall and we hadn't had a birthday party,
then I might have gone with.
we might have gone with, because then the kids would have had something to do.
Yeah.
But it was a really good expo. It's held for the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center. So a lot of the proceeds from the show are donated to help prevent child abuse. This is my second year going. Got to see a lot of the Northwest people up there. I don't know if I'll name drop, but we saw quite a few people that we've been meeting. I'll probably mention them as we go through some of this stuff. Okay. So, as always, I'm going to start with the manuals.
There's not that many.
I didn't get that many. I didn't actually see a lot of people with manuals this year. So,
and I don't know what he bought.
Yeah, she doesn't know, so she might be surprised.
What?
It's been sitting in a box, but she might still be surprised. So, grabbed the Intellivision boxing manual and overlays, and really all I wanted was the overlays. There was another set of overlays there, but they weren't in good a shape, so I think this was $1. So for $1, I just grabbed the duplicate.
Plus, you got this little sleeve.
Plus, I love those little plastic sleeves. I'm gonna have to figure out where to order those. And then Yoshi's Cookie Manual for Game Boy. I already have this game, so that I don't have the box, but it completes it. I don't really worry about the cardboard boxes for Game Boy.
Did you get this from my family? Yoshi's Cookie?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't remember where I got it, the game. And then Super Tennis. Now it turns out that my brother-in-law, your brother, just picked this game up for me at a Goodwill or a Salvation Army in Chicago. So I grabbed the manual. So hopefully he'll decide he actually is going to give it to me and not keep it for himself.
Did he say he was going to give it to you?
If he doesn't, I'll give him the manual. Yeah. He said he picked it up for me. I don't know. I guess he wasn't interested, but I've heard that game might be kind of fun. So.
Oh, is this from his lot of Super Nintendo?
Yeah, he bought a bunch of Super.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he wasn't going to get it, but I said, "Oh, I'll take Super Tennis." And then Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. This is a Nintendo 64 game I have. I can't remember where I picked it up. I think some Craigslist bundle, but I went ahead and grabbed the manual just to complete it. So that's it for the manuals. Just I think 4 there. And now let's go through this. I'm going to kind of go through it: Atari, and then Nintendo, and then Sega. And it turns out I didn't get any PlayStation or any Xbox or any Turbo, even though I'm still looking for Blazing Lasers. Didn't get any Turbo.
No Blazing Lasers.
But I didn't even look at PlayStation stuff, and I kind of skipped over the Xbox. I was really trying to focus on, ironically, on Game Boy and I guess Nintendo, and I didn't get any Game Boy games either. But let's go through the Atari stuff real quick. Picked up a 2600 game I kind of know from my childhood. A neighbor of mine had this. I only played it like once, but it's Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. And this is, I think, sort of a classic Atari game, so I grabbed that. And I saw the manual there, but it was all beat up, so I didn't buy it. And then I got a Miner 2049er. I actually got this from John Riggs. I bought something else from him, which we'll talk about at the end, and he kind of threw this in. So that was real nice of him. I know this game. I don't know much about it. I don't know if I've ever played it. And I don't have any Atari cartridges with this form. It's by Tiger Vision, and it's got kind of an indent here like the Coleco ones, but it's also got an indent in the front. So looking forward to trying that one out. Miner 2049. And then for my beloved 5200, I got Pac-Man, which I already have, but the reason I did is because it has the overlays. And you may say, well, it's kind of, the overlays for this game are kind of silly because there's only 2 buttons on there, 1 and 2 player and game level. But try to get the overlays. So
yes, because you have to be complete.
I'll flip the card or trade it off to somebody. Although I don't know anybody with a 5200. And then I grabbed Congo Bongo, another game that I have heard of, and it's by Sega. And I don't have it for any other system, so label looks a little yellowed or faded, but
it's unique.
It's a 5200. A lot of 5200 labels, unless they're the Atari brand, are no good. So yeah, so looking forward to trying that one out too. So I got some good Atari stuff. Okay, so moving on to NES. I guess we'll kind of go through this, and let's do it let's do NES first. Been trying to get into the Adventure Island series. Adventure Island 1 is based off, is the same game as Wonder Boy for the Master System. At this point though, Adventure Island 2, I think they split it. It's not a Wonder Boy, it's not based on any Wonder Boy game anymore. So thought I'd check out Adventure Island 2. I looked for 3, but I can't remember if I didn't find it or if I didn't want to pay the price that they were asking. And then another game I've been looking for a while. This one has a gold label on the back, which suggests it's a battery. Kirby's Adventure. And I have the manual for this, so I'm pleased to finally get the original Kirby's Adventure.
Cool.
It's heavy too, so there must be something fancy in there.
It does. This game contains batteries. It says it right here.
So, trying to get some of the Kirby games. Some are going to be really expensive, so I'm not sure I'll get them all. King's Knight. I don't know anything about this game. I think I've seen some YouTubers talk about it. It's by Square. The art, the label art looks kind of cool, and it was pretty cheap, so I just decided to grab it. I guess I'm at the point where I'm just grabbing NES games that I think have neat labels. Okay, so now this one, of course, is the exact opposite of this. Has the least interesting label since Sega Master System games, but this is Narc, and I know this game, so I just wanted to say I think it's an arcade translation, and I had sort of a weird knockoff for the PC back in the day, but I always wanted to try the NES version. So and it was cheap too, and the label's in good shape. So. Okay, and this is one I'm really excited about for 2 reasons. One, it's Shinobi for the NES, which of course I'm a big Sega fan and a big fan of Shinobi. And then the other reason is that it's a 10-yen game. I've been thinking about collecting the 10-yen games. I'm not sure I'm going to end up getting them all, but I'm getting some of the cheaper ones. But really looking forward to trying this one out and seeing how it compares to the Master System version. And then finally, soccer. Plain old soccer, black label. Thought I might try to get some of the black label. Yeah, I have the manual for this already. So there's a couple black labels that are kind of getting expensive, like Donkey Kong Jr. Math, and I think just Donkey Kong Jr. I also need. But this is one of the ones I needed, so I grabbed it. And this isn't exactly cheap. This is like a $6 game. So for a sports game, it seems a little high. All right, let's do. Let's do Super Nintendo last because I got a good one there. Whoa. Let's just do this Wii one. Now this one I've had on my eye for quite a while. This is Little King's Story for the Wii. I saw this at retail once. I think it was in a discount bin, and I think it was something like 30. And I was like, 30 for a. I didn't know I wanted to. I don't know if I wanted to get it, but I looked it up later and then put it on my wish list. And of course, since that time, I've forgotten a lot about this game, but it's always been on my list, and so I trust my past self. That if my past self says I'm interested in this, then I'm interested in it. So it was a good price, and it's in good shape, so grabbed it. So finally, I'm glad to get this knocked off my list. This is sort of the quality over quantity that we've been, although it's not an expensive game, but trying to knock out some of the ones that are actually on the list. All right, let's do N64. We're gonna flip it around here. All right. You want to do these?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, 1080 snowboarding.
Yeah, 1080.
Don't you have the manual for this?
Yeah.
I got this a while ago.
So yeah, I got the manual. 1080 degrees snowboarding.
Degrees, yeah.
Just one of the classic snowboarding games.
It's like sticky.
I know. It's got a rental sticker on it. I think I can get that off.
Okay. Hexen,
one of the PC first-person shooters from the mid-early 90s. It was half off. It was $1.50. So I grabbed it.
Mischief Makers.
Now this one I think I've seen on some YouTube channels recently. I meant to look it up. I'm hoping this is the right game. It might be by Treasure. Is that the right group? I think that's the right one. I think it's a 2D platformer. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's a 2D platformer. And so I saw it there and I said, oh, I've heard about this. It looked kind of interesting. And the price wasn't too bad, so I grabbed it.
Oh, and Quake.
Yeah. So I'm grabbing some of these old first-person shooters. Quake, I have Quake 2. I grabbed Hexen.
To me.
Yeah, but I figure, again, this was cheap too. It was half off. It was $3.50 after being half off.
You're not going for a complete 64, are you?
No, I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it. I don't know. I'm just grabbing some stuff that looks like it might be fun.
Okay.
All right, let's do Super Nintendo.
All right.
I want to do Sega last.
Ooh.
All right, so you want to do these two?
Must be something good in there.
I think there's something really good in there.
Oh, okay. Oh, another Kirby game.
Yeah.
Okay, Kirby's Avalanche.
Just a cheap Kirby game. Apparently, this one might have been out for the N64 too.
Looks good.
Also, but Kirby.
All right, and then we have Pilot Wings.
Pilot Wings, classic Super Nintendo game. Don't have it. I'm not sure if I have the manual for this or not, but I do have the N64 version, so I've been waiting to grab this.
And then Uniracers.
Uniracers, just I've actually had my eye on this one for a while, and then I saw some YouTubers again talking about it, so I decided to grab it when I saw it.
Oh, and then this one. Wow.
And then this one has been on my list for a while.
Ooh, Donkey Kong Country 3.
Complete in box, yeah.
Wow.
Stumptown Retro, another Northwest gaming guy.
Fancy.
Hooked me up with this one. So thank you, Stumptown. I appreciate that. It's the last of the Donkey Kong countries I needed for the Super Nintendo.
Cool.
I have them all boxed and complete.
Very nice.
Labels and the box is just a little dinged around the corners. That's okay. You put them in those plastic sleeves; they look like they look brand new. And then the label on the game's in really good shape. And I put them in Universal Game cases. So yeah, really excited to finally get that off my list and for a good price.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
Thanks Stumptown. All right, let's move to Sega, and we're gonna just go backward. And there's only two systems represented here, so we'll just start with. Let's do it alphabetical order.
Okay.
So start with that one.
All right. We have Pen Trill Salon.
Trill Salon.
Trill Salon.
I guess. I don't know.
For
I don't know anything
Dreamcast?
about this game, but I grabbed it because
Because
it's
it's
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
It's in good shape. It wasn't on my list, but I know the game. I mean, I'd heard of it. I don't know what it is. I might have confused it with another game. Looks like some kind of racer.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
Dreamcast.
that'll be fun. Yeah, Dreamcast.
Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation.
Yeah, I have the other Tomb Raider game for the Dreamcast, so I decided to grab this one. I'm not expecting it to be a great game, but it was real cheap too, so no big deal there. Okay, this one is kind of a cheat
Go ahead.
because I put this on my list the night before.
No way.
Yeah, I think I put it on my list the night before, and I was really surprised to see it there. This is Sega Touring Car Championship for the Sega Saturn.
What made you put it on your list?
Huh?
What made you put it on the list?
I don't know. I was, I don't know. I was looking through
Just
Sega Saturn
perusing
games and
Sega Saturn
pricing
games?
some out, and I'm like, oh, there's another racing game for the Saturn by Sega. I should get that.
You should get that.
And so, I almost walked away from this. The guy didn't quite know. He didn't know he had it. He quoted me the price for another game, and then I said, well, no, this is Sega Touring Car, and he's like, well, okay, same price. I'm like, I don't know. And I walked away, and he's like, well, how about this? And I said, okay, for that price, you got it. I was going to come back, but it's always cool to pick up a Saturn game, especially one that's complete. So I was really happy to do that. All right. So now the last two things that I'm really kind of excited about. I don't know. I think what's going on is we're going to talk about this in our March pickup video, but I got a book about the Sega Genesis, and so I've been reading about it. And so I've been kind of getting more excited about the Genesis again. And these are Sega CD games, and so I'm pretty excited about these. The first one is Batman Returns. Now, I've heard, this one is kind of unique, or I think the game is like any of the other versions, except it has these 3D racing sections, which sounded really cool to me. So, and plus I have Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo. I think it's Batman Returns. And so I'll just compare them. But I'm pretty excited about this. It's complete. It's got the manual and the disc. I probably put it in I don't know what I'll do with the disc, but really excited to have this. The box is in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But this next one is the big one. I've had this on my list for quite a while, and it's kind of an expensive game, and the price looked right. It actually looked like it was a pretty good price, unless the game's going down in price and I'm not aware of it. And it is something I think I learned about on GameSack.
Wow.
And I've had it on my list for probably about a year now. And it is Android Assault. So I think it's some kind of shooter. It looks like a shooter or shoot 'em up. It might be horizontally scrolling. Again, it's sort of like Little King's Story. I remember seeing it on YouTube, and it really sounded good, so I put it on my list. And I don't remember that much about it, but I trust my past self. So.
Oh, look at this. Check out weird futuristic moonscapes with huge butt-kicking bosses at every level.
All right.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to get my
That
butt
sounds
kicked
good.
by some moon
Yeah.
bosses or whatever it is. So
This is in really good shape.
Yeah, and it's in really good shape. And plus, it's got a cool name.
Yes.
And the art is cool. So really excited. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I was really happy to to see that. And I was kind of towards the end of the day, so who knew? Nobody. I don't know why no one picked it up, but I'm happy as I'm pleased to have it.
Cool.
Okay, but that is not the.
Oh, boy.
That is like the second best or the best pickup.
Boy. I was going to say, this stuff doesn't add up to what you spent.
The last thing I got, or the thing I'm perhaps most excited about, I got right at the end of the day, and then I kind of scrambled, looking around for some other stuff to go with it. That is a. I got it from the same place as the Android Assault, and that is an Atari 7800. I got a new console.
Oh, Lord.
Never had one of these before. So this is the last of the three. Sorry, Jaguar fans. This is the last of the three 80s Atari Atari systems. The 2600, 5200, and now the 7800. I have all three of them.
At least it's not as big as the 5200.
No.
Jeez.
It looks kind of like it, but it's a lot smaller. This was it was designed in the early 80s, 83 or 84, but it was actually sold mass market when the NES kind of repopularized video games, and it really technically was technically not powerful, as powerful as the NES and not the Master System, so it didn't compete very well. But it's a system that I knew about from my old GamePro days. I'd read about it, and so once I got the 5200, once I got my TurboGrafx and some other bigger systems out of the way.
You have been saying that you wanted one.
That's right.
Yes,
that's true.
you have
So I've been saying this is sort of the next system I wanted to get. So Atari 7800, grabbed it kind of at the last moment, and then came bundled with Pole Position 2, which I think is the pack-in game. So that was nice, but I couldn't walk out of there with just one 7800 game. So I grabbed several.
Did it come with cords and everything?
Yeah, they're in that bag.
Okay, fine.
So I grabbed a few. I grabbed a few games.
A few?
Yeah.
Or like several?
Well, just several. So let's go through the loose ones. This is the other one I got. This is Choplifter. I got this from John Riggs. This is the other one I bought, and then he threw in Miner 2049er.
Cool.
Really love this game. I remember playing it on the Apple II, but of course my favorite version is the Sega Master System, and wanted to see what the 7800 version was like. And tried it out today. It's interesting. It's different, but I'll probably play this one a little bit more. Oh, and the beauty of the 7800 is that it plays 2600 games. So now I have a spare 2600. Of course, I have the ColecoVision module, so I can play. I got a few ways to play 2600 games.
You always do.
Food Fight. Another. This is a game I had heard about for the 7800, and I was really glad that they had this because some of the selection. Apparently, some guy went through the convention and bought up a bunch of the 7800 games to use as donors.
Oh.
Because there are some really good homebrew games. Somebody was telling me there's some really good homebrew games, and so a lot of games are sacrificed for donors. And so some guy had bought up a bunch of stuff, but this one was still there. And actually, the guy I was talking to was a big 7800 fan, and he had to go. He went and found this for me. So
nice.
I was really glad to get that. Because this is one I had heard about, and it's unique to the 7800. Karateka or Karateka, I don't know how people pronounce it. This was one that was sitting out in the open, and it wasn't Hat Trick. I only saw Hat Trick, which is apparently a hockey game. So I wasn't really interested in that. And then they had a couple others for some games that I had already had for the 5200, and I really didn't want to buy again. So I was looking for unique stuff. Apparently this isn't a very good game. But again, I had heard about this from old Game Pros, so I grabbed it. And then Xevious. Another one. I think I have this for the NES. I might have it for the 5200. I'm not sure. I think I'm thinking of the Xevious. Am I thinking of Xevious? I can't remember. Anyway, Xevious. It's a shoot 'em up, vertical shooter. Okay. So I was looking forward to that. And then I got. This one also. Now, wow. I wasn't really going to buy this because I already have Dig Dug, but he said it was a really good. Conversion, and then he threw in Xevious and Food Fight and kind of gave me a bundle deal. Now it turns out this is completely sealed, and I don't know if I want to open it. It's a brand new inbox sealed 7800 game.
Wow.
So it's Dig Dug. So I don't know if I'll open it or if I'll just try to trade it or flip it and then just get. I hate to open it because somebody out there would want it. So. Maybe I can maybe I'll just trade it for an open one for somebody who cares about it being sealed, because I certainly don't. And then finally, I didn't technically get this at Cowlitz. I got it at a game shop on the way home.
Oh.
And this is Desert Falcon, and this is definitely one I remembered from Game Pro. It looks like it's an isometric shooter, almost like Zaxxon or Viewpoint. But I knew about it from Game Pro. It was one of the games that they had there that at this shop, which I stopped on the way home from Cowlitz and looked for 7800 games, and it's in really good shape. It's complete. It's got the manual. It's got the game. The label is in great shape. So I grabbed it because it's a game that I associate with the 7800. So we'll just mention it here, even though I technically didn't get it at the expo. Okay, so that was it. I definitely I'm pretty excited about the stuff I got there. A lot of stuff was on the list. A few things weren't, but I knocked out some things that I had on my wish list for many years. In fact, like Little King's Story, Donkey Kong Country 3, Android Assault's probably only been on there a year. And of course a 7800. 7800. So
wow,
pretty exciting stuff.
Where are you gonna put this?
Yeah, I don't know
no
actually.
More connections.
I think I'm out of. No, I got the little RF switch box right there. I don't know. I had it tucked back there. You didn't even notice.
No, I guess
no. Well, the real question is where am I going to put it when I'm not using it? Because I think I'm out of drawers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. So great time. I guess I will mention some of the people's names that we didn't mention. Doc Ness was there, Dr. Nintendo. It's always good to see him. He had a booth set up. He was doing a lot of reproduction cards. Some really cool stuff there. We saw Stumptown. We saw John Riggs. I mentioned that. Who else do we see? Luigi Freakout.
Yeah.
I saw Metal Jesus there, but I didn't talk to him, and I only saw him for a second. He like comes and goes like a ghost. he's in and out of these expos. I don't know what he does. And then we met Kinsey Burke, which was really exciting. She's somebody that we see on YouTube and we follow.
Yeah. On Twitter.
On Twitter. Am I missing anybody? I might be missing somebody. Luigi Freakout we mentioned. John Hancock, we saw him. Yeah. Okay, fine. We saw John Hancock, he was the organizer of it. He was telling me some neat stuff about some Sega Master System label variants I had no idea about. So I don't know if I'm getting into label variants. But I almost did buy a Monopoly because I thought it was a variant.
You had to call me and see which version you had.
Yeah. Turns out I had the version they were selling, so thought I was going to walk away with a Master System variant for dirt cheap, but no.
Then you would have been like stuck again this year. Maybe.
Stuck?
Like done the same goal as last year. Last time you went to Cowlitz, you bought that 32X game, and you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna make a goal to buy a game for every system I own.
I'm not gonna do that goal this year because I'm not buying a 32X game. Wow. But I'll have to come up with some other kind of goal. Yeah. Maybe it'll be involved with 7800 or Sega CD.
What if we had a goal like where you didn't buy anything for a whole month?
No. What kind of? That's not a goal. That's a failure. That's a huge fail. All right. So it was a great time. We got to see a lot of good people. Got to talk to some good people, and it's always good to see those guys. And I think I'm pretty excited about the stuff I picked up. So definitely
and you stayed with your budget, so that was wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: I walked out of there with $2 in my pocket. So I kind of stayed within budget, but I had brought a little more than I had budgeted for, and still only walked out of there with $2. And don't think I wasn't looking for something to spend that $2 on, because that would have been perfect. Spending exactly and coming out of there zero. That's how you win at expos and life. Yeah. Die with no money. Walk out with $0 in your wallet. All right, I'm kidding, of course. Okay, I think that should wrap it up.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed the video, like us and subscribe.